Before operating the ST80, be sure to remove the transport pin from the transport lock. Remove the retainer, then withdraw the transport pin, and stow it in the bracket provided on the back of the pedestal. Check the location of the transport pin each time the ST80 is used. Do not attempt to operate the tool with the pin in the lock. Replace and secure the transport pin prior to transporting the ST80. The tool must be fully retracted before the pin can be inserted. There are two main sets of controls used to operate the tool. The upper set of controls operate the jaws, torque wrench, and spinner rollers. The jaws control clamps and unclamps the jaws. The mode control changes the operating mode between spin and torque. The torque control operates the torque wrench to make or break the connection. The spin control operates the spinner rollers spinning the connection in or out. The lower set of controls are used to position the wrench at the tubular connection. The top lever is the ST80 up-down control. It controls the vertical position of the wrench assembly. The bottom lever is the ST80 extend-retract control, and it moves the carriage horizontally. The recess lever is the adjust-extend-retract control, and it's used to set the extend limit. Before using, look to make sure that all the hoses and quick disconnects are properly attached. For the tool to operate, hydraulic power must be applied and the ball valve must be rotated to the open position. Verify that the inline pressure filter indicator is green while the spinners are spinning, and check to see if there is any oil leakage visible at the hoses, quick disconnects, or manifold. To position the ST80, extend it by pulling the ST80 extend-retract control lever toward the tubular until it stops. Once extended, release it and use the up-down control lever to adjust the vertical position. The ST80 is correctly aligned when the clamp jaws are on the box upset and the rollers are on the pin upset. Use the adjust control to precisely position the ST80 horizontally. The correct position is when the lower guide plate contacts the tubular. Typically, this only needs to be adjusted once per trip. To adjust the rotation of the ST80 so that it's correctly aligned with the tubular, loosen the rotation brake screws. And fully extend the ST80. Then pull the jaws control toward you to clamp the jaws onto the tubular. While clamped, tighten the rotation brake screws to lock the turntable in position. When using the lower controls, avoid potential pinch points between the control levers and carriage components. Always keep hands away from moving components.
There are 6 basic steps to making up a connection. Extend the ST80 to the tool joint, clamp onto the tubular, spin the connection in, torque the connection, unclamp the ST80, and retract it out of the way.
To make or break connections, the tubulars must be supported and the ST80 must be correctly positioned at the tool joint. To make up a connection, recycle the torque wrench by moving the torque control to the brake position. Make sure the torque wrench is fully recycled. Pull the jaws control toward you to clamp the jaws onto the tubular. Wait for the jaws to clamp completely before continuing. Once clamped, move the mode control to the spin position and hold it there throughout the spinning operation. Allow 1 second before proceeding. This will enable the spinner rollers to fully grip the tubular and operate correctly. Then use the spin control to spin the connection in. After spinning in, move the mode control to the torque position and hold it there throughout the torquing operation. Wait 1 second before continuing to allow the torque wrench jaws to fully clamp. Next, hold the torque control in the make position until the desired torque is reached. Verify that the rotation of the torque wrench has stalled before referring to the torque gauge. If the torque cylinders reach the end of their stroke before the desired torque is reached, the indicated torque will drop to 0. In this case, you'll need to recycle the torque wrench to continue tightening the connection. To do this, release the mode and torque controls and unclamp the jaws. Then recycle the torque wrench by moving the torque control to the brake position. This will rotate the wrench back for another cycle. Make sure the torque wrench is fully recycled. Pull the jaws control toward you to clamp the jaws onto the tubular. The jaws must be fully clamped before operating the mode control. Pull the mode control into the torque position and hold it there. And then hold the torque control in the make position again until you reach your desired torque. Release the mode and torque controls and unclamp the jaws. Then push the extend retract lever to retract the ST80 out of the way. Once familiar with the operating sequence, the process can be performed quickly and connections can be made in less than 20 seconds.
Remember the 6 basic steps to making up a connection. Extend the ST80 to the tool joint. Clamp onto the tubular. Spin the connection in. Torque the connection. Unclamp the ST80 and retract it out of the way.
In all cases, tubulars must be supported during make or break operations, and the wrench must be at the correct height on the tubular joint. Additionally, the upset diameters of the tubulars being handled by the ST80 must be within 1/2 inch of each other. Using the ST80 on tubulars outside this range will damage the tool. The jaws must be fully clamped before performing any other operation. Make sure to allow a 1 second delay when operating the mode select before operating the spin or torque controls. Do not clamp onto the tubular using just the mode control. The jaws must be fully clamped before performing any other operation.
Do not clamp onto any hard band section of tool joint. Doing so will damage the dies and prevent the ST80 from gripping the tubular.
The procedure for breaking out connections is similar to making up connections. The difference is that the torque wrench is used to break the connection first, after which it's spun out using the spinners.
There are 6 basic steps to breaking out a connection. Extend the ST80 to the tool joint. Clamp onto the tubular. Untorque the connection. Spin out the connection. Unclamp the ST80 and retract it out of the way.
To break out a connection, move the ST80 into position with the extend retract lever. The tubular must be supported prior to breaking the connection, and the wrench must be at the correct height. Adjust the height with the up-down control if necessary. Recycle the torque wrench by moving the torque control to the make position. Make sure the torque wrench is fully recycled. Pull the jaws control to clamp the jaws onto the tubular. The jaws must be fully clamped before operating the mode control. Then move and hold the mode control in the torque position, allowing 1 second before proceeding. Hold the torque control in the brake position until the connection is broken. Release the torque control, then move and hold the mode control to spin, allowing 1 second before continuing. Then use the spin control to spin the connection out. Unclamp the jaws and push the extend retract control lever to retract the ST80 out of the way. The makeup torque is adjustable up to 60,000 foot-pounds and is displayed on the torque gauge during operation. Before adjusting the torque, zero out the torque gauge. Turn the knob on the back of the gauge until the needle matches 0 on the gauge face. The torque is set to the desired value by turning the adjustment knob on the pressure reducing valve, or PRV. Turning the knob counterclockwise decreases the torque, and turning it clockwise increases it. To adjust the torque, back the knob out several turns to decrease the torque completely. Clamp onto a tubular and spin a connection in. Then, torque the connection, and while holding the torque and mode controls, turn the PRV adjustment knob clockwise while watching the torque gauge until the desired torque is achieved. Once the desired torque is set, position the red needle on the torque gauge to the same value as a reference indicator. During makeup, you can easily see when your torque value has been reached when both needles line up. The torque gauge responsiveness is adjustable. Turn the needle valve at the top of the gauge to adjust needle sensitivity and speed. The adjustable stabbing guide assists in guiding the tubulars during makeup operations. It's adjusted with a set of nuts behind the guide. To adjust the stabbing guide, stab the next stand and move the ST80 into position with the extend retract lever. Using the jaws control, clamp onto the tubular. Then turn the hydraulic ball valve on the back of the pedestal to the close position. The close position is marked C on the pedestal. Failure to turn the hydraulic ball valve to close could result in serious injury. Loosen the adjusting nuts and align the inside edge of the stabbing guide with the outer circumference of the pipe. Then tighten the nuts. When coming out of the hole or when handling drill collars, loosen the front nuts and push the guide back out of the way. Once all adjustments have been made, turn the hydraulic ball valve to open, indicated as the O position. The tool is now operational, and personnel should be aware of potential motion hazards.